That's all.
Powerful. Very powerful.
Oh, yeah.
This guy's amazing.
Thank you. Where our habits and behaviors come from.
Ooh, where do they come from?
You're going to have to watch my life.
Oh my gosh. You don't want to tell me? Can I get a private life?
She wants a private life. I charge for that.
Oh yeah? How much?
It depends. We have to have a talk and I'll send you a proposal. But I'm going to be sharing with you guys where our habits and behaviors come from. I'm going to use a whiteboard because I want to draw some things out. Hey, good to see you, Ingrid. I am Marcos. What's up, bro? Good to see you on here, man. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Good to see you guys on here. Thank you for being a part of this. It's been an amazing, productive day. Hope you guys are having a good day. If not, I'm going to change all that for you right now. So where do you guys think your habits and behaviors come from? And that's what the topic for today is. Where our habits and behaviors come from. And I think it's really an important topic because, you know, those things that you know you shouldn't be doing. Come on, be honest with yourself. Those things that you know you shouldn't be doing, but you keep freaking doing. Those things that are not healthy for, you know, yourself, for your relationships, for your business, for your team, for your kids. Those things that you know in here, you know deep in your heart that it's not really good for you. It's not in alignment with who you are. It's not in alignment with where you're going. But yet you keep doing them. You know those things? We all have something like that, right? So I want to show you why. There is a reason why, and there is a place where that comes from. And then also, you know those things that we know we should be doing? Those things that you're like, you know, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. You're shooting all over yourself. Those things where you know you should be doing, yet you don't do them. Or if you do them for a short period of time, and then you default to what you used to be doing, your old habits. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I'm going to be talking about today. So let me look at some of these comments. If you guys want to come live on here with me, ask some questions, share something, send an invite, let me know, and I can bring you on here live with me, so we can get some interaction. If you guys want some live coaching, we can do that as well. Why do we keep doing those things that we know we shouldn't be doing? Why do we not do those things that we know we should be doing? Why? We need to understand the reason. Today's topic, I'm going to break it down to you right here on this whiteboard because I want you to see it. I'm going to draw it out. And I want you to know, where do habits and behaviors come from? We already had a couple people comment on here. I was asking, where do you think our habits and behaviors come from? Why do you keep doing those things that you know you shouldn't be doing? Why do you not do those things that you know you should be doing, but you don't freaking do them? And when you do them, you only do it for a short period of time and you go back to what you used to do. Why? Oh, by the way, you guys see my shirt? I am supportive, stable, patient, and a good listener. I actually have 4 different types of these for the 4 different types of personalities that they are. It's a whole teaching and a workshop that I do. Man, when you guys know personalities, maybe I'll do another live on this topic, because when you know personalities, man, it sets you up to win. It sets you up to build relationships in your family and with your spouse, with your kids, with your clients, with your team. When you know how to identify somebody's personality, it freaking changes your life. It sets you up to have control over communication. It sets you up to have more influence over people. It raises your effective leadership. You know, your ability to communicate, your ability to sell and close, your ability to parent, your ability to love. All these different things when you can identify somebody's personality. And I teach in my course. I have a course on my website if you guys want to check it out. It's Richard Martinez, same as my handle here on Instagram, but then you add the .com. But if you go check it out, I have a course on there on relationships and communication. It's about the four personalities. This is one of them. I am supportive, stable, patient, and a good listener. There's 4 different kinds, and I actually teach you how to identify somebody's personality in the first 10 seconds that you meet them, that you see them. I mean, I've taught sales teams to be able to identify somebody who is coming into their office before they've even met them. Just walking into the door or stepping out of their car, you can identify their personality like that. And when you can identify somebody's personality, man, you know what their goals are. You know what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what their desires are. what kind of words to speak that resonate with them, what kind of body language, what kind of energy to use. And this makes you just more effective in how you communicate to them, which creates influence. You can influence them to make any kind of decision from there. It's super powerful. I mean, I've applied this on so many people, and they think that I'm psychic, because I know exactly how to talk to them, who they are, what they struggle in, what their relationship struggles are, just by knowing their personalities. So it's super powerful. Let me read some of your guys' comments here. Richard. Ooh, it's in Spanish. Oh, you're challenging me. I'm glad that you guys are following. I can't read Spanish. Hola, buenas noches, saludos. Richard, okay, the clave para poder tiene negocio. What is the key to have a successful business? What's the key? The key is to know your clients. I mean, not to fall in love with your own business and your own ideas, but really see what their need is. It's real basic. It's to add value. It's to see who you want to serve, what their need is, and then you have the solution for their need. That's business. If you can find a need and a very practical, convenient, effective way to meet their need, that's a good business, period. I think habits come from our environment, parents, friends, situations. Nice, Manny. Lack of discipline, Kathy, good. Eddie, comfort, good. Zunica Daisy, your habits can be determined by the people you surround yourself with, and the lazy society we live doesn't help. So your inner motivation has to be really strong and determined for you to change. Boom! Good. That's nice. You can read my personality a few months back. Oh, you read it, and it was intense experience. Oh, I read yours. Where was it? That's really cool. Where were we when I did that for you? I sometimes I tell people that I can do this, and they challenge me. They're like, "Oh yeah, well read me," and I always tell them like, "Are you sure?" Because I'm gonna get into it, and when I start to read them, they get very uncomfortable, because they feel like they're naked and like they can't hide behind anything. Then people stop looking at me, and they feel like I can read their minds because I understand personalities. You never met me before, and you were right on spot. The chamber event in San Dimas. Wow. Thank you for sharing. See, there you go. That's proof right there. I have a book. If you guys haven't seen my planner yet, man, this thing is freaking powerful. You go to itsrichardmartinez.com. I have planners there, and my planners, they will kill procrastination. If you deal with procrastination, you can't when you use this planner. If you struggle with life management. If you struggle with life management too, but time management, this will take that away too. You won't struggle with that anymore. If you deal with losing motivation, this planner will take that away too. If you get distracted easily and don't follow through on things, this planner will kill that too. So it's very systematic. There's you can see the whole month at a glance. I have daily things for you to do to prime your mind, to program your mind and get it ready to reflect on the day. And then there's tools at the end. There's things for you to measure yourself, because you can't manage what you can't measure. You can't manage what you don't measure. You can't grow what you don't measure. So it helps you to measure everything. Yes, it's on my website. If you guys if you guys get it, or if you guys want it, we have it at a discount right now. I actually have a whole webinar that I already recorded, explaining and teaching you how to use the planner. It's freaking powerful. But just know that all the stuff that I teach you guys, that I share, this is stuff that I use on myself. This is stuff that I developed in my life, and with my own problems, with my own insecurities, with my own issues, and I had to learn how to overcome them. And instead of just overcoming it, I created a system for myself and a tool so that I can apply it more on a continual basis. And not only that, but I can duplicate it. I can give it to others. And I make it very simple, very practical, so that you can do it. So it's not all, complex. Even though we have a planner, we have to want to change from within. If you don't want to change, nothing will help. If you're ready, then your planner is on the way to go. Yes, true. And not only that, but you know what? I will also disagree a little bit, because I've had people who struggle, they wanted to change, but not really either, because they're freaking lazy and just blaming and complaining. But when they started to use my planner, you have to have the willingness and want to use the planner. So that's true. But once they started to see the results, and that started to motivate them at a whole different level. So even though they didn't believe in themselves, they didn't like really see like a bigger picture, they didn't see the bigger goals of what they could accomplish. As they began to use the planner, 3 4 days into it, they started to see momentum. They started to see like results and started to see how they started to feel better about their life. And because of that, all of a sudden their want to, their desire to, shot up. Now all of a sudden they think bigger, see bigger, all because of this little momentum that they started to gain. But you're right, there has to be some level of willingness to want to do something there. I agree. Unfortunately, it's the way of feeding your conformity with all that we're doing, for fear of taking risks towards what can possibly change in our lives. That's yes, that's awesome. I think our habits and behaviors come from the comfort zone. It's a way of self-indulge our weakness. That's good. All right, so let's get into it. I'm gonna teach you guys real quick. I say real quick, but usually it takes longer than real quick. I'll see how fast I can do this. So again, the topic is, where do our habits and behaviors come from? So I'm gonna turn you around here. I'm gonna draw some stuff out. Okay. Now, first you need to understand how you as a person are created, and then I'm gonna show you where all these habits and behaviors come from. Okay. You guys ready or what? If I were you, I would take some freaking notes, write this shit down, draw a picture with me, because the more you interact with me here, the more you're gonna retain this information, and the more you retain the information, the more you're gonna benefit from it. It's not really you don't really learn it until you live it out. It's not really learned until it's lived out. So you have to live it out. You have to use it. You have to practice it. You have to apply it. And that's where you're going to start to see the benefits of it and the results of it. And that's going to be more of a motivation for you to continue. And that's how you gain momentum. It's not about motivation, okay? Motivation comes and goes. And if you're just waiting to feel motivated, you're going to lose. Oh, I don't feel motivated. It's not about your freaking feelings. It's about getting the results done. You knowing what you want and getting it done. Creating the life that you want. Making the rest of your life the best of your life, right? So if what I do, for what I share with you, adds value to you, don't be stingy. Don't be stingy. Share it. Give it to others. Tell other people, hey, come on here. Check out this guy, Richard. He's freaking amazing. No, but really. All right. All right, check it out, guys. Now, this is you. And when I draw this, you'll never guess that I'm actually a really good artist. I produce music. I've produced 3 albums. I'm an artist in dance. I was a professional dancer. I did entertainment for Jamie Foxx. I came out in TV shows, cable shows, Teen Magazine, Spin Magazine, all for dance. And I draw. This is not my drawing, but I actually paint and draw some really cool shit. So check it out. This is you. That circle is you. It represents you. Your 3 parts. Okay, I'm going to show you where your habits and behaviors come from. So this is your spirit. This is your soul. And then this is your body. You see that? So you are 3 parts. You are a body, soul, and spirit. So the essence of who you are, who you really are, is right here. This is where your true self comes from, your purpose, your identity, this is your essence of who you are, okay? So you are a spirit that has a soul that lives inside of a body. You guys get that? So you're a spirit that has a soul that lives inside of a body, a physical body. Now, when I teach I teach life mastery, right? I told you about my life mastery planner and my book that's going to be coming out, Life Mastery System. It's about mastering your life. So you can't master your life if you don't even know what you're made up of. So you are made up of these 3 parts, body, soul, and spirit. And if you want to master yourself, you need to have a freaking plan, a self-development plan for each of those areas. So how are you developing yourself on purpose, with intention, consistently, on purpose for a purpose in your body? What is your self-development plan? Are you eating right? Are you drinking enough water? Are you exercising? Are you getting these things done because you know that it's important for you to master yourself in your physical body? Your physical body, your energy. I mean, if you have low quality energy, if you don't feel good, if you're sick, it's going to freaking affect everything that you do, right? Your relationships, your career, your spirituality, your building your business, everything. So if you're not taking care of this temple, this vehicle, It's going to make you suck. It's going to limit you in your life. You're not going to feel good. When you don't feel good, it affects everything. So you have to have some kind of plan to take care of your body. This vehicle, okay? It's freaking precious. You only get one. With your cars, your vehicle, your actual car that you drive, you know, you have to take care of it, right? Give the right, you know, fuel, the oil, you do changes. I'll do all that stuff to take care of it, to maintain it, right? The maintenance. But if you don't, you start to damage it. But the thing is, when you do that to your car, your physical car, you can get another one. But when you do it to your body, no, sir, you cannot get another one. And a lot of times people think, well, I'm young, I'm good, you know, that's when you're older. No, I'm telling you, it starts now. And when you get older, you can't reverse this shit that you do to your body and mess it up. So I would encourage you guys to, you know, take care of it now. All right. So look, check it out. Body, this is your physical body. This is your vehicle. So what is your plan to take care of that part? This is life mastery, right? But that's not where I'm going to focus right now. But you need to do something about that. Then you need to have some kind of plan for your spirit. It doesn't mean you need to have a religion. If you do, good for you. If you don't, good for you. But do something that's going to build you in your spirit. For me, I pray, I read the Bible, I don't go to church. I believe church is not a building. I actually have church on Sundays. I do it over Zoom. I teach people how to do it in a very practical way. So I'm not about religion. I think religion is a bunch of rules of do's and don'ts. I don't believe in that. I believe in relationship with God, myself, and others. And the more that we become effective in those three areas of our lives, man, we freaking win. We feel good. We feel satisfied, fulfilled. So I think you need to have some kind of plan for your spiritual life, what that looks like for you. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's, you know, you're in the natural trees and, you know, outside in front of an ocean or something. Maybe that builds your spirits. But figure out what builds your spirit, what strengthens your spirit, and freaking do it. All right? So have a plan for your body. Have a plan for your spirit. But now this is where I'm going to focus right now. This is where your habits and behaviors come from. Right here. Now, what is your soul? What is your soul? Your soul is your mind, emotions, and your will. That's what your soul is. Your mind, emotions, and your will. So your mind, this is where your thoughts are, your intellect, you know, your ideas, you know, it's you're being rational, analytical. That's coming from your mind. Your emotions, you know what those are, right? Your feelings, sadness, joy, depression, anger. These are all different types of emotions. Now, when you think of emotion, emotion. This E stands for energy. It's energy in motion. So emotions that are running through your being is an energy that is in motion. It's in motion, that it's set through all of your cells, all through your body, soul, and spirit. It's running through your whole body. It's an energy in motion, right? Energy in motion. So those are your mind, emotions, and your will. Your will, do you know what your will is? A lot of times people don't understand what that is. Your will is your power to decide. You get to choose. You know, if I want to, like, even when you believe in God, what I teach is that God is not in control. God is in charge. He's not in control. Just like if you run a business, you are in charge, but you're not in control. Even if you tell yourself you're in control. If you're a parent, you are in charge, but you're not in control. You can try to control your kids, but you know that's not going to freaking work, right? So there is a difference between being in charge and in control. So your will is your power to decide. Even God is not going to control you. Like right now, if I want to pick my nose, you know, he's not making me pick my nose, or he's not making me not pick my nose. It's my choice, because I have the power that was given to me called my will, my free will, where I get to decide and choose to do things or not do things. I decide or choose to react or respond. I decide to say something nice or say something mean. I have the choice. I have my free will. Now, this is where you need to take responsibility and know that you can't blame. And, you know, you have to take responsibility. The more responsibility you take for your life and everything that's happening in it, the more successful you're going to be. The more happy you're going to be, because I was teaching this earlier on my Zoom. I had a Zoom webinar today, and I taught there's 3 types of problems. There's my problems, your problems, and our problems, right? Now, how much control do I have over your problems? How much control do I have over your problems? How much control do I have over my neighbor's problems? How much control do I have over the economy's problems or the Trump's problems? I have freaking zero control over your problems, over my neighbor's problems. I don't have any control there, right? So I'm not going to be very successful, and it's going to be very frustrating if I try to control in those areas. It's going to be very frustrating for me because I'm not going to get any results. How about in our problems? The problems that affect us both right here. How much percentage do I have control over that area? 50%, right? My 50%, my side. So when we're talking about my problems, how much control do I have over my problems? 100%. Or am I going to produce more results when I'm focusing on your problems, our problems, or my problems? Very, very common sense here, right? But common sense is not often common practice. So I'm going to be more successful. I'm going to create more results when I focus on my own freaking problems. So now let me get back to here. This is you. This is where you need to give all your focus and your attention on. And guess what? It's not selfish, because when you are more whole here, when you're more integrated, when you're more conscious, when you're more self-aware, you're going to be much more loving to other people. You're going to be a better leader, a better parent. You know, we can't give away what we don't have. So the stronger that you are, the more strength you can give, right? The more understanding that you have about yourself, the more you can lead other people. So it all starts right here with you. So that's you. Doesn't it look like you? And then if you're a girl, right? So you are body, soul, and spirits. And in your soul, you have your mind, emotions, and your will. Now, this is the thing. This is the circle for your soul, right? So when you were born, you were in your mother's womb. Okay, let me tell you a little story about yourself. So you were in your mother's womb. Let me make my stomach big. You're in your mother's womb. And in your mother's womb, you have constant warmth, nourishment, and protection. It was a womb of love, getting so much love there. You didn't have to work for it. You didn't have to earn it. It's just unconditional, true love. You had constant warmth from your body, the body temperature of your mother. And if it was cold, she would put a jacket on and put some kind of blanket or something to keep you warm, right? You had constant warmth. You had constant nourishment from the umbilical cord of your mother. You didn't have to go get food. You didn't even have to chew. You didn't have to freaking, digest it. Your mom did that for you. She would go eat it, chew it, swallow it, digest it, and then that would go into the bloodstream and begin to nourish you. You were just kicking back in this womb of love, not having to do anything, and now you're getting this constant warmth, this constant nourishment, and this constant protection from the fluids, the muscles in the womb, and also your mom protecting you, right? Protecting you from, any kind of harm or danger. So you had constant warmth, nourishment, and protection in this womb. That's love. Warmth, nourishment, and protection. It was a womb of love. It was like a paradise. It was perfect. There was no issues. Like, you didn't have to strive or do anything. You didn't have to earn it. You didn't have to work. You're just receiving all this warmth, nourishment, and protection, this love for free. Right? And then what happens 8-9 months later? Woo! Damn, something very dramatic and traumatic happens, right? Now you're being pushed and pulled through this small canal. And now there's lights, there's noise, it's cold, people touching you, they cut the umbilical cord. All this warmth, nourishment, and protection, this love, is taken away. It's very dramatic and traumatic. The first thing that we can do to kind of feel that again is to go to our mother's breast. And then we feel that warmth, nourishment, and that protection, that love. So this is what we all need. We all need it. Love. We all need love. This is the human need that we have. This is one of the most powerful freaking emotions that we can possibly experience, this love, right? So this is what we're seeking ever since we come from that womb of love. We're in our mother, we're born, we're brought into this world, and ever since then, we are seeking that. That's what we want and need. We want that warmth, nourishment, and protection. But guess what? Life is not fair. This is when you begin to grow up. I don't know what kind of, home that you grew up in, but I grew up in a very toxic home. So this is what happens. Look, so for me, we're talking about where our habits and behaviors come from. Okay? So We're talking about our soul, our mind, emotions, and will. We were just born out of our mother's womb. We're looking to be loved. That's what we're looking to be. Now, life is not fair. So we grow up in a home to where maybe you didn't have a mother and a father. Or maybe you did have them, but they weren't a very good example of what a loving relationship looked like. Maybe it was a toxic home. Or, I mean, I've had clients who, for one example, I had this client come to me and they were having trouble in their marriage. And actually the wife came to me and said, man, we're going to get divorced. And I was like, that's not good. You've just been married for 2 months. And I'm the one that married them. So I was like more invested, right? So I'm like, no, this can't happen. So what's going on? What's the problem? And so they started to share that they just couldn't talk. They couldn't have conflict resolution. Whenever there was kind of conflict, the husband would freak out. He couldn't handle it. He didn't know how to deal with it. But so then I sat him down and I said, what's going on? Why are you struggling with this stuff? And remember where habits and behaviors come from, right? So his habit and behavior is when there's kind of conflict, he would either react or he would just take off. He would actually leave the house and then not come back because he didn't know how to deal with it. He didn't want to deal with it. So I started to ask him some questions. And I said, hey, how was your parents' relationship? He says, it was really good. Like, man, they have one of the best relationships that I've ever seen. And, did they ever fight or did they have any kind of conflict? And he would tell me like, no, actually, no, because whenever they had any kind of conflict, they would always make sure to do it behind doors. And they wouldn't do that in front of us, in front of the kids. So I was like, oh, I said, well, there's your problem. He's like, what do you mean that's my problem? Yeah, that's the problem. You never learned how to deal with conflict. Your parents hid that from you. So now you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage, and there's conflict, which is normal. And you think something's really wrong because you never seen it. You never had an example of how to deal with it. So he's like, shit, I never thought about that. So when you think about it, like whether you had conflict or not, it's how we deal with it, how it marked us. And this is where I'm going to get back here of talking about our soul, where our habits and behaviors come from. So when you have wounds, pains in your soul, okay, it could be from maybe somebody bullied you. That's a wound. Somebody called you a name. You were abused mentally, physically, sexually, emotionally, verbally, whatever. You're abused. You were hit. You were neglected. Whether real or perceived, it was real to you. Okay? And it causes a wound and a pain. Like these are called wounds. Wounds. It's a soul wounding. It's a soul wound. It's a wounding in your soul. Now, think about all the different things that you've been through in life, through school, through relationships. Maybe you've been cheated on. Maybe you've been, there's, all the freaking shit that we go through, right? Like, it's life. But if we don't understand what it does to us, it actually begins to mark us in our soul. It begins to fracture our soul. So if you can imagine your soul, these are your mind, emotions, and will. And they're supposed to be like this, in agreement, together, whole, healed, right? Now, if you have wounds in your soul and you haven't dealt with these things in your past, it starts to fracture your soul. And then you have more things, more abuse, more whatever, real or perceived. Again, maybe you saw an accident. You weren't even in it, but you saw it. And that wounded you. It caused it like this trauma where now you're afraid to get in an accident because you saw that. That can cause a wound in your soul. So that begins to fracture your soul more. The more undealt with issues that we have in our mind, emotions, and will, the more our fractured our soul is going to be. Now think about that. We're supposed to be like this, to where what we think and what we feel is in alignment. So it makes it easier to make a decision with our will, right? Again, your soul is your mind, emotions, and will. So if they're all healed, if it's whole, if these things are all together like this, what you're thinking, what you're feeling are in agreement. So it's easy to make a decision, right? But if you're fractured, what you're thinking and what you're feeling are not in agreement. I don't know if I should do this. Should I? And then your emotions are not in alignment. They're not in agreement. So these things are fighting. So it's harder for you to make a decision. You're not making a wise decision. You're doing stupid things, or you're doing it too late. You're procrastinating. Whatever it is, it's because you have a fracture. You're not whole here. And it's because of these things right here. These wounds in your soul, your mind, emotions, and will. So again, Now what happens is, okay, we have these pains, right? These wounds right here. That's what those are. Now, who likes to be hurt? Nobody, right? We don't want to be hurt anymore. So this is what happens. When you were hit, when you were cheated on, when you were called a name, when whatever hurt you, right? You begin to not want to get hurt like that again. So what you do is you develop defense mechanisms to protect yourselves from getting hurt again. An example, a man cheats on a woman and the woman gets hurt, right? So she gets a bad fracture here because there was a cheat, or the other way around. A woman cheated on a man, because it's not only the men cheating on the women, right? Right. So let's say that happens. Now it causes a wound in the soul. So in order to protect this man, I don't want to ever have that happen again. That's never going to happen. No one's ever going to do that to me again. We start to want to protect ourselves from that happening again. So we create defense mechanisms. Okay. Here's an extreme example. I had this woman who came to me who was over 400 pounds and she could not lose weight. This is an extreme example. She could not lose weight. She went through all these programs, all these different, diets. She could not lose weight. So she came to me and she says, Richard, you're my last resort. I can't lose weight. I'm very unhealthy. I don't know what to do. The doctors are telling me I need, she was huge. So I started to ask questions. I'm like, well, because what I wanted to do is find out what these things were that was causing her not to be able to lose weight. Because again, our behaviors, our habits come from this place. So this is where real change happens. So I started to ask her a question. So how old were you when you started to gain this weight? She gave me an age. I said, all right, well, what happened to you during this time? When I asked that question, this whole different energy came over her where she's just, because she was all like, I need help. I want to do this. I'm excited. I need to do some change. Then when I asked that question, she goes, she's just like, well, and I'm like, oh, there is a button there. There is a trigger there. There was a wound in her soul there. I just found an area that hasn't been healed. And I can tell by her expression, by the energy that just came over her. So then I asked her, well, what happened? She told me that she was raped. She was raped, and this man poured battery acid on her face. What a freaking... That's... I want to say a lot of words right now. Men hitting women, that's just, you're a freaking loser. Period. No excuse. So for me, I was like, okay, she's sharing this. And I said, okay, well, that's why you can't lose weight. She's like, what are you talking about? I said, yeah. Ever since that happened to you, you created a belief. You were wounded in your soul. That was a big wound. Like, this man raped you, right? And poured battery acid on your freaking face. So your mind said, shit, that's never going to happen to me again. So what did you do? You created a defense mechanism. And your defense mechanism was to let yourself go, to get fat so that you're not attractive, so that nobody would ever even want to get close to you, so that that thing doesn't happen again. When I told her that, she just looks at me and she's like, everything just hit her and made sense, where she just started to cry. She started to weep. She was having a very hard time with that. I held her, we're weeping together because it all made sense to her. See, a lot of those habits and behaviors that you do that are not healthy, those are not the problems. You getting angry, you having an anger problem, you having an addiction, those are not the problems. And the thing is, a lot of times people think it's a problem and they put all their time and energy in trying to change those things. And it doesn't happen. That's not what the problem, that's a symptom. A symptom means a sign of something else. And what is it? What is the sign of? Of those behaviors, those addictions, those habits that you do that are not healthy for you. It's because you have shit here that you haven't dealt with in your soul. So this woman had this thing in her heart because she was raped, and that's a freaking reason to be hurt, right? But it created these defense mechanisms that was creating unhealthy habits, unhealthy behaviors. Now that's not good, because now this woman is a slave to this man. And that's what I had to tell her. Because the way that you deal with these things, so because you guys need to know this, all of us have some of this stuff right here, okay? And these things are your buttons and your triggers. So like when you're like, you just push my button. I don't know, that just person that just gets under my skin, right? We say those type of things. This is why. these are your buttons. These are your triggers. It's in your soul. You have some things that you haven't dealt with, some pain, and you've developed weapons. You've developed defense mechanisms to protect yourself so you don't get hurt in that place again. And those things create certain behaviors and habits and part of your personality. Maybe you become angry. Maybe you become very shut down and shy, which means that you're really scared. It begins to do those things, and all those things are just defense mechanisms so that you don't get hurt anymore. So you don't feel rejected again. So you don't get abused again. So you don't get bullied again. So you don't get cheated on again. Whatever that wounding was in the begin with, you don't want that to happen again. So you begin to create these habits, these behaviors, these defenses to protect yourself from that doing it again. You guys getting this? I want you to tell somebody around you, man, this shit is good. This is freaking powerful. Go ahead and tell somebody that. So then I started talking to this woman and said, okay, well, are you ready to deal with this? She said, yeah, I didn't realize this was happening. So then, what I told her that she had to do? Oosh, she didn't like it. Now, look, let me tell you, this is how you fix this stuff, okay? Whatever your problem is, you need to have through 3 steps. Face it, erase it, replace it. Those are the 3 steps of how you deal with these woundings in your soul. Face it, erase it, replace it. Now, what does that mean? I'm going to tell you, relax. So first, face it. You have some freaking habits. You have some behaviors. You have some addictions, some ways of being that that are not good for you. It's not serving you. It's not helping you to get where you want to go. It's not helping you in your relationships. It's not helping you in your career. It's not helping you in your leadership. It's not helping you in your parenting. Just face it. Don't blame. Don't make excuses. And this is not about blaming these people in the past that hurt us either. My dad used to beat the shit out of me a lot, to where I had to learn how to leave my body so that I didn't feel anymore. Okay? I was in a very toxic environment most of my upbringing, around a lot of drugs, gangs, a lot of drama, right? I'm not here to blame, but I need to realize how those things affected me so that I can heal. So what you need to do is, what I did with this woman, I said, okay, you got raped, and that caused you to gain over 400 pounds so that people won't like you, so that you wouldn't get raped again. A defense mechanism. She saw it. She was able to face it, right? That's why she cried. She's like, oh shit, I know this makes sense. Now I get it. Now I said, okay, we need to move to the next step, which is to erase it. You know what this means? This erase it means? It means to forgive. Erase it means forgiveness. Now, how do you think it went when I told her that? She just told me that this man raped her, and I said, okay, well, you need to forgive him. How do you think that went? Not very good. Her anger came up. And again, even that anger is a defense mechanism. Anger actually comes from fear. Anger says, I'm going to hurt you before you hurt me because I'm really scared. And I don't know what's going to happen, so I'm going to bring anger up. So that way I feel in control. So I can scare you and create some space, because the truth is I'm freaking just scared right now and I don't want to get hurt again. People use anger to protect themselves. So I started to get near this button, near this pain, near this trigger, near this wound in her soul. So she began to bring out her defense mechanisms, and she brought up anger with me. And she started to get mad. Didn't you just hear what I just said, Richard? He raped me. And you want me to forgive him? Are you freaking crazy? She got mad. And I just listened, because I know that's not the problem. The anger, that's just a symptom. That just shows me that I'm getting close to something. That's just it just reveals to me that I'm getting close to the problem that's going to change her freaking life. So instead of taking it personal, instead of getting offended, I saw past it. I knew that she needed healing here. So I said, yes, you need to forgive. And it's not for him, but it's for you. I said, you need to stop living like a slave to this man. I'm not a slave. Yeah, you are. You're a slave. You're a slave to this man. You are living in a way that, is just trying to defend yourself from this person. He doesn't care about you. He's not thinking about you anymore. And here you are living a life that is just all based around what he did to you. I said, forgiveness doesn't mean that you are okay with what he did. Forgiveness doesn't mean you need to go and talk to him and be friends with him now. Forgiveness means that you are breaking any kind of influence that they had over you. and you beginning to live the life that you always wanted to, and not giving them any kind of power over your life anymore. That's what forgiveness does. It took some convincing, but she said okay. So I took her through some healing, to some conversation with that, of how to erase, how to forgive. I had her say it out loud. She wasn't fully into it. She wasn't fully excited about it, of course, but she did it. And replacing, this is to change your perspective about it, because those memories are going to want to come back. Those issues they're going to tempt you to get back and create that whole thing again. So you have to create a new mindset, a new perspective. You have to replace it with a new perspective about that situation. Pull out the good from it and get rid of the bad and let it go, because it's not going to control you anymore. You are erasing it through forgiveness. And if there's something that you guys did, maybe you have some shame or some guilt or some regrets, that weighs a lot. That limits you. That creates other types of behaviors and habits that are not good for you. So maybe this erasing, maybe some of these wounds are because some shit that you did to somebody else that you feel guilty about, that you regret. Maybe it's not something that was done to you. Maybe it was something that you did to somebody else, or maybe both. Either way, you need to face it. Face that stuff is there. Face that those behaviors and habits are there. And then you need to erase it, whether you're erasing somebody who hurt you, or forgiving somebody who hurt you, or forgiving yourself for those things that you did. And let me tell you that, when you forgive yourself for the things that you did, it's so powerful. When you feel guilty about something, when you have regrets, first celebrate that. When you do something and you notice that you did something, you're like, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Damn, why do I keep doing that? Like, when you feel bad about it, that's a good sign. Celebrate that. Feel good about that. That just shows that you have a good heart. That shows that you know that you're better than that. Because what's the alternative? You do it and not give a shit. You do it and say, oh, well, that's a dangerous place. That's a more dangerous place to be, like, doing these things and not care. So just the fact that you cared, that it bothered you, that you know that you're better than that, celebrate that first. Be happy that you feel that way, because you know that you're better than that. But then forgive yourself. Move on. Don't beat yourself up. Don't try to show the person that you did that wrong to, or yourself, or to show God how bad you feel by punishing yourself the whole day, the whole week, the whole month, just to prove to other people or to God or to yourself, like, yeah, I really feel bad. Let me show you by punishing myself, by feeling sad the whole day. No, that's not how it works. Forgive, you face it, you forgive yourself, and you freaking move on. If you can do that, the faster you can do it, the better. And you'll know, like, the people who maybe you did something wrong to, you can tell them I'm sorry, but then not change your ways. It's not gonna work. Or you can not even say sorry, but change your ways. That works. So you need to make some change, right? So let's go back over here. Again, you are a body, soul, and spirit. And these things right here, these wounds in your soul, that's what creates your bad habits and behaviors. So what do you need to do? Face it. Face that you have some bad habits and behaviors. Don't blame. Don't try to justify it. Don't give yourself rights and reasons why you're that way. Oh, I just was brought up this way. This is how my dad was. This is how my dad's dad was. It's just how I am. And that's how I am. So people need to learn how to deal with it. If you can't handle me, then, I guess you just can't handle me. Don't freaking make excuses. You know those things, those behaviors, those habits that you do that you shouldn't be doing. Just face it. Be honest with yourself. And then realize the consequences that those things are producing in you. Realize the benefits that you'll get if you begin to make these changes. Because this is going to create leverage for yourself so that you can begin to go through this series of face it, erase it, and replace it. It all starts in here. It all starts right here in your mind, emotions, and your will, right? Remember, you are body, you are soul, and your spirit. And if you want to master your life, you have to have a plan for each of those areas. And right here, I just broke down, some of your soul. I can go so much deeper into this for each of those areas of who you are. And that's what it's about for life mastery, to really get a hold and control of your life, to really, create the life that you want, to really make the rest of your life the best of your life.